Hey, everyone. How y'all doing tonight? Another Monday episode of whatever you want to call this. It could be Monday Night Live, No Mite Monday, whatever you want to talk about Monday. The link is posted right up there. If you're interested in coming to join me, feel free. I don't know, things around the bee yard today. Let's see. Well, they were hungry bees. They are actually in my pollen tube. I got to talk to a lot of beekeepers today. So, it's pretty interesting day today. So I talked to a lot of people, stopped by and saw Sam for a few minutes, did a little live video there. That's it. As the world turns, that's what we should call it. It's another daytime drama series, but other than that, I mean, it's been kind of chill, a little cooler here. Bees were just out. When they finally got out, they were a little bit ready to eat, and they destroyed my pollen tube with that today. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they went from having pollen to not having pollen, hitting that tube, Cool and rainy. How do you see? Hey, Shane, good to see you. Hold on, I got to do some things over here. Let's dun, dun, dun. Let me see. Bam. And let's make some adjustments here. We're trying to add a few people here. There we go. And add as a moderator. You guys got anything good going over at your on your side of town over there? Frost warning. Yeah, see, Amir, it's amazing how the little bit of distance that we live apart, we're in the same town. In the same town. And we have different. He'll have a nectar flow and I won't, or he'll have pollen and I won't, and we're really not that far apart. But the bees change that much, right? It's really quite unique. Yeah, bees were flying like crazy here today too, but I ended up putting out some feed for them. Just trying to get them heavy. I put some 1-to-1 in the feeder and 2-to-1 on the colonies. Oh yeah, it can really shut off that quick, really quick. So let me make sure Charlie knows I'm live. It's Monday. We've been going Monday for a long time. Maybe he'll come, maybe he won't. I don't know. Everybody's got different things happening. I want to say thank you to all the people that ordered the swarm lure yesterday and helped me out with that. Only issue was I forgot today was a holiday, so the post office was closed. But I have it all. It'll go out tomorrow. Let me see. I don't know what Charlie's doing. He might have a meeting or something tonight. And I talked to James McNally a little bit ago. He's going on a ride on his motorcycle today. And hey, Michael, good to see you. Don't let the power go to your head, Shane. Don't let the power go to your head. And yep, there you go. Got some more mediators there. Great harvest season. What kind of walnuts do you have? Do you have black walnuts where you're at? Is that what you're getting there, Richard? And I'm just trying to let people know over here. Let some peoples know. So sorry about the delay in speaking here. Hey, Keith, good to see you. Good to see you. What's going on in your world over there, Keith? Looks like you've been keeping busy. And all right. I think people forgot what night it was tonight. Ah, there he is. Ta-da!
Hey.
Did I catch you taking a nap?
No, I'm eating supper.
Eating supper? Well,
Yes, sub.
I had one of those this weekend. Where'd you get it from?
That was a place right down the road from me.
A little local place?
Yeah.
That's good. Supporting local business is good. So how was your day today?
It wasn't too bad, I guess. It was a Monday. Brother's back off of vacation, and so I don't know. I mowed the bee yard out before it's raining right now. So I mowed the bee yard out middle of the morning while it was cold and the bees weren't flying because it was I think it got in the 40s last night, and it was, mid, or I'll say 50, 55 or so in the morning. I actually had to put a long sleeve flannel shirt on. It was pretty cold.
I had my jacket on all day, my work jacket. I mean, our pollen stopped like that. I mean, yesterday, no bees on the pollen sub. Today, they emptied the thing out. So all of a sudden, like, it was gone.
So then I stopped and let's see. I think I filled my feeders up or checked them or something like that last Thursday or Friday. And I wasn't able to get into them. It was raining and weather and stuff over the weekends and busy. And so I went out there today. I had mixed up another batch of 40 gallons. And I was concerned whether or not that they were slowing down. I could see that. Right. So when I went out there, pretty much all the top high feeders they were pretty much completely empty, except for maybe one of them. So I filled them all up, and I might have about 9 gallons left in the tank. And I'll kind of see how they do over the next couple of days. It's supposed to get up in the 70s midweek and then rain again on the weekend.
James said it's 75 there right now in Alberta.
Oh, yeah.
A little while ago.
Well, we're getting that Canadian cold air coming down. I do know that.
We swapped
what the weather guy said.
But really, I mean, it hadn't been too much happening here, when I really I needed to really like rain, not even rain. I don't know. I just need the bees to stay in for just a little while where I can mow around them and clean up around there, and not aggravate them. I mean, they're not as bad as they were. I still got a few colonies that are a little bit suspect, but not many. Like two today were kind of still chomping at the bit, but not too bad at all.
I mean, midday we were mid 60s, high 60s. It finally got by 3 o'clock or so. Then I didn't need my sweatshirt on. I just had my long sleeve flannel on.
I think it's supposed to rain here Thursday, maybe Wednesday. Let me see. Nope. Looks like Friday and Saturday is supposed to rain here. It's going to be in the 50s at night. Tonight it's supposed to be 49, but other than that, it's supposed to be in the 50s.
It's 52 right now. And supposed to get into the 40s. Go down, I'll say down, 8 a.m. it says it's 47 degrees. We'll see what happens.
It's but yeah, it's going to be be pretty interesting. I'm really curious. I mean, I'm going into winter with more colonies than I ever had. And you know how our winters are. So, I mean, it could change quickly. I mean, hopefully it, I don't come out with 17 like I did every other year. So we'll see. Yeah, the giant crab. I don't even know if I'm going to be going yet. I've got a meeting tomorrow, Chris, with Ray and Zach about if I'm staying with the company or not. So we'll see. See what they say. And in North Myrtle Beach, you sure it's not in Myrtle Beach? It's North Myrtle Beach, okay. And so we've got. It's kind of weird, the weather. They're still like a couple of my colonies are still wanting to draw comb and all that, and that's probably because I'm just pushing the feed on them, right? So, but they're slowing down. Some of them are really taking it fast, and some of them are slowing down. So I just make sure they all have it. And what I'm going to do is take my buckets that I have, because they're starting to take those really slow, a couple of them, and I'll probably put jars on those guys and take the buckets and put them on the ones that are really sucking it down fast so they can just keep at it all the time.
Yeah. I actually made another, let's see, 12 gallons of water. So I think it'll probably make about a 24-gallon batch from the guy that I'm teaching. I got that. He's going to pick that up tomorrow. And, made a little bit of a video this afternoon. It was sunny, and all of a sudden, as soon as you want to make a video, here comes a storm in, and it's all and it's dark as pitch. And I'm like, geez.
That's hold on, I got a special child here. I gotta give him the link here separate. It's funny. You want to send me the link? Yeah, it's pinned in YouTube, but I'll send you the link. But yeah, it's just been a wild and crazy day. Is normal around here, right? With everything that happened.
Well, like I said, I had 40 gallons sitting down in the basement, and I was like, well, the other Scott needed like 20. And hey, Brad. And
you don't know somebody else's journey, Bob. There's got something goofy going on with my computer, and it was like the other night. I couldn't see half of the chat, and I couldn't see the link, so there was no link on my side. So sorry.
I'm just poking fun at you, man.
I know.
Don't get all brown starfish.
I would there. Poke my finger in your chest. Yeah, no, I just blaming my computer. It's kind of like, okay, there's no link, so I guess I'll ask for one. Sorry, Charlie, I interrupted you.
That's all right. But so I was on the fence of whether or not to use all 40 gallons, whether I was going to need to use all that and feed this last time. So when I seen pretty much, it had been about 3 days since I went out there. They were all dry. So I said, yeah, I'll take all 40 gallons and make another batch for him because he had bought 10 bags. And so that's what I did. So right now I counted up 200 gallons of sugar water made this year, 1,200 pounds of sugar used.
I've gone through 2/3 of a tote.
Yeah.
It's amazing how, I don't know if that shows how slack I was in the past or if I'm just giving it to him that much more because I need to get the tote out of my truck. Because it's like every day I'm just like draining buckets and like, here you go, take some of this, but you go out there and they're all like around the fittings. I'm like, it's not dripping at all. There's no drip there, but they're all around the fittings. And I'm like,
you gotta unmute yourself, Brad.
Thanks, Charlie. I need a lot of coaching tonight.
Yeah. Did you watch? Did you get to watch the Dr. Ramsey?
I did.
I did.
I did. And I wanted to say
I
something.
got in after feeding, and it was just I probably lost the last 10 minutes of it or something.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty interesting, pretty frightening that those little creatures are on their way.
Was
You know.
was the main talk about AAA laps?
Yeah. Yeah, AAA laps.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
nasty one.
Well,
He seems to be. Well, of course, he's been at it for a couple years. Well, no, it's probably more than that because I had him. See, what was it? I had him come to our meeting. Well, it's been about 3 or 4 years ago, and he had went
he's up
to.
your way now, right?
Well, and actually, he's out in
Colorado.
Washington State now. The way
Thought he was in
but
Colorado.
nah, it's
Well, I know he went to Cornell, and then he got his master's from somewhere else, and then
he came to Maryland and he was getting his master's degree. He wrote his thesis in my church parking lot the night that he came into our meeting, and he didn't have a PhD at the time, but it was the beginning of, hey, you're all wrong about the mites eating the blood.
He's the one that blew the lid off that. Yeah.
Oh, he blew it off big time. And he came in that night, and if you ever get to watch him in live, he's not one of them science guys that talks so far above that you can't understand.
Super relatable, isn't he?
And he'll bring that information down to your level, and like he would say, it's the fat body. Well, at that time, he said, just think of it as the liver of the bee.
Yeah.
He said that's basically what it was. Now, he did not have, let's see, this is all in Maryland State, the University of Maryland is where he was doing all this work. And then he became friends with the department where they had the electron microscope department. So he brought in, I'm going to say he was the first guy, as far as I know, that actually had, number one, pictures of the mites. And actually he had some YouTube, or not YouTube, but video movies of it, and where he did an experiment where he tried to prove that this thing was sucking what it is the mite is like a spider. It injects a enzyme, I guess you call it, or fluid, and then it emulsifies the liver or the fat body, and then it's able to suck that fat body food into its body. Well, then he took and did an experiment where he colored it with food color. Now the mite is sort of translucent when you get it in an electron microscope thing, and you could see it actually going through the body of the mite, the food and stuff going in through that body. And he brought it to that level of if you didn't understand it verbally, you could see it, and then you could understand it. And that's what he did. And every time I would see him in some of his live conferences, that he would just bring even more, he kept bringing even more and more photographs. And he had gotten down to the point where the last set of photographs I saw was, he had it to where you've seen the hole where that thing has like a beak, and it just is like a spear, and it just spears into the cell wall into where the fat body is. And he said, there's the hole right there. And it was like, I forget how many thousands, it blew up as it was.
Well, he talked about mites a little bit because he, it was a commonality to kind of relate to what's the same and what's different. And one of the things I remember specifically was talking about mites is we always think of these sporadic mites that are not in the brood cells, that are on the bees. And I'd never had a good understanding of, like, why are they on the bees and how long are they on the bees, and they're not in the brood cells. And he kind of cleared that up. Basically, how long, he says 3 to 4 days they'll be phoretic. And what he was saying is why is he said that the mite needs to extract certain proteins from that fat body from the adult bee in order to produce the eggs.
Right.
And then they enter the cell, and then they start laying eggs. So that's the process that they have to feed on the adult bee to get certain proteins from that adult bee, so then they can go in the cell, and then they can start laying eggs.
Now,
and
did
then
you
they do
listen?
that all
Did he
over again.
talk when you were listening to him? And it was fairly recent. One of his talks where he said they were trying to understand how fast this mite is growing, and it's talked about. I guess what you were just saying there was that basically this mite is laying an egg or whatever, and he says it's like a human having an 18-year-old baby, and that's why it's exponentially fast and growing so fast. And it's also because of those enzymes that you're talking about is why they were wondering why they could do all this with all this energy, and he needed a certain
And
amount of energy.
that's what he was talking about, that varroa mites produce eggs that are unusually large for the
Yeah.
size of the founder's mite. But he said the Tropicalaps mite is way worse. He said that he showed a picture of a Tropicalaps and then the egg, and the egg was as big as the mite. It was crazy. And he said that's very interesting. So they're researching that, and they're trying to learn as much as they
Yeah.
can about that. And he also said that Tropicalaps they can double population in about 10 days.
Yeah.
So that's pretty.
And
And
the
not only
biggest,
that, but they take a 4-month vacation every year. He said for 4 months every year they're not in the hive. They leave. And he said they don't know where they go or why. But there's 4 months every year, and it's the same time that the mites just leave. And
So
the
that's,
bees
I think, the
have
trick.
Tropicalaps.
Find out where these mites hide out in nature, and that's where you got to terminate them at, right?
Nuke
You got to
where they're
find their hideout.
hanging out. Yeah.
yeah. Now,
You
when
got
it
to
came
find
to, yeah,
the
I missed
Osama
that.
bin Laden mite, and that's the one we got to search and destroy and knock it out, right? Brad, does that mean each time in between the up to 4 times of reproduction she has to eat each time? I guess
Oh,
he's
you're asking
saying,
me.
yeah. It says, well, you're Brad. Last time I checked.
Yeah, well, you should be asking to Sammy.
I guess he's saying every time that they lay eggs, they have to come back out and feed and then go back in, or
No, they don't, and I think that's what he was saying, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I believe this is why he was making the correlation between the varroa mite needs to come out of the cell, feed on the fat body of the adult bee before she can go back in and lay eggs. I think he said that they don't have to do that. That they can get what
keep
they need right on the larva itself. Now, he did talk about people say, oh, they can't live in such and such an area, temperatures and stuff like that. And he said their research with that doesn't matter. Said they live almost everywhere. Broodlessness, they can't live without brood. And so maybe we'd have something going for us in that way, because we do have a broodless period. He did say that that was the only control to date that's working, is brood removal. But brood removal doesn't do much for the strength of your colony.
right.
Well, nothing good.
Yeah, so you're
So he said that would be published, or the guy running the presentation said it would be published after the fact. So, do you know who put that on? I can find it here if you don't have it. Talk amongst yourselves.
You
Was it
sent
Tip?
me the link, and when I clicked it, it did not allow me. It said I had to have a code, but it was. Well, it don't show me now. I'm not sure.
I'll see if I can find it. So
All right.
just talk amongst yourselves.
And well, we got nothing to say.
Yeah, Facebook wise,
Oh, hey, Pete.
it was the Honeybee Health Coalition, I think, put it on.
That's right. So I'm just looking there to see if I can find it.
So I believe Todd said that it's still on Facebook somewhere. I think they up.
Well, the posting for this presentation is, but the presentation's over. So
Yeah.
I would think if you went to Honeybee Health Coalition Facebook page, there will likely be a posting, I would think. To when they have that video ready, I would expect. I mean, who am I?
Well, we're in the presence of greatness. It was said on the stream, so it's got to be true.
Apparently, you are. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of important, right? I mean, I think it's when we talk about YouTube and being on here, we're just guys that happen to be in different areas of the country that keep bees and have the same passion, right?
That's right.
So it's it's not a
yeah, we've all got our strengths, right? We've all got our strengths. Different people are kind of into different things, and I'm actually trying to revolutionize my business model a little bit as I advance in age. It's getting a little difficult, so just trying some new things and whatnot. So I've got lots to learn and
see. And I've been thinking about that as well, right? I still want to make honey because that keeps me plugged into my local community and people coming to buy honey and interest there. But as far as beekeeping, I think I would like to do, because of my geographic location, I think that early season queens could be the way to go down here, right? Because everybody north of me could get queens earlier if they needed them in the year. And that's just a thought. I mean, there's a lot to it, right? I can't just go out there and say, I'm going to make 1,000 queens. You got to have the infrastructure to do that.
Well, particularly if you're going to sell mated queens, that's your infrastructure right there. Yeah. If you're selling virgins, that's easy peasy.
Yeah, just make cells, let them hatch, bottle them up, and let them go.
Bob's your uncle.
And Bob.
That's what you should call your queen company. Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle. Bee company.
So Charlie, I watched. It takes me so long to watch some video. Sometime I started watching your video about shaking out those bees, and I just finished it this evening. That's a good video, man. That's a good.
I got your name combobbled. Actually, the bee man. It's actually that bee man.
That bee man. But it was a good demonstration of that principle, and it was very clear. I mean, the way they marched up in there, I looked at that and I thought, that's a tough climb, but boy, they made it.
Yeah, they got up there, and then when I did that little post, or that I waited, I was doing other things. So I said, let me take another shot of that, where they had moved out of that. I put that lid there. I said, that's a good way of kind of like keeping them all together.
Yeah,
kind of directing up in there. And then when I was shaking, the bees actually fell out of that lid, but they went over and got in and
they don't need help, do they? All they need is a physical connection between the two, somewhere they can climb on.
And then I was showing that, and I got up close with a camera on the entrance, and you can't see everything in the camera. But then after I'm watching the video, I said, well, look at them. They're fanning and everything. It's like, come on in.
As soon as they find that door, then they start nasonoving and sending the homing beacon to the rest. Yeah. It's really, it's a powerful tool.
I mean, that's the way to come. I mean, nobody really teaches that. I don't think at the bee
No.
group or the bee club levels, as far as a way of
Well, I gotta
combining,
ask: is there a
combines
study
it.
on that? Has it been to the university level? Have they verified that that's effective process and that it's going to work?
Dr. Curry
Because
demonstrated that at our bee
okay, I was
course.
about to say we can't use it if it doesn't have a
No.
technical document behind it. So
At our apiary day at the bee course, he took a bunch of bees and shook them out on the ground, and he said, "Watch this!" And he shook a bunch of bees on the ground, and everybody just went, "What are you doing?" And they just all marched
Well,
into the
was
I
hive.
the
mean,
most
I'll
amazing
put,
thing when they put
but
that 500 pounds of bees, just shook them all out
Yeah,
all over the ground.
yeah.
It's
Not
like
even just like
$5,000 worth of bees just
nice
dumped
and
on the ground in front of a bunch of boxes
neatly in front of one box. It's just through the whole yard.
and let them figure out where they're going to go.
Sure. Yeah.
but
Yeah, you're right, Charlie. Nobody teaches you. Can you imagine you
teaches
take a
that.
new hobbyist beekeeper and they ask you how to do something? You say, "Shake all your bees on the ground," and they're just, "Oh, I'm never talking to you again because you don't give me straight answers."
You
That can't
don't know what you're talking
possibly
about,
be true.
mister.
Yeah, but something, even for me, I've watched, like, that's why I made mention of you and Ian, that, that we had talked about all this, and I think that's, for me in my own education, it was like, I always seen Ian and all these other commercial guys, and they're always shaking the bees out in the grass. And
Mhm.
I'm like, why are you doing that? Why don't you just shake them? They come out of that hive, shake them back
Yeah,
into the top of the hive,
yeah.
and they don't. And then, like with Ian, where we were discussing this technique, is that, I said, hey, I seen in the video that you went from the other hive where it was queenless, brought frames, and you shook 3 or 4 pounds of bees, not in front of the hive, but off to the side of the hive.
Yeah.
And he said, they have to walk around the side of that box and then towards the front and then up the pallet. And by that time, they're ready to be submissive to the guard bees of that hive. So please let me in. Please let me in.
I think an important part of that tool is moderation, right? It's dilution. Actually, that's a quote from Dr. Curry as well. Dilution is the solution. And to me, it's if you had a very small population in a hive and you shook a really large population on the doorstep, I don't know, you might have a problem. If you have a smaller population you're shaking on the doorstep and a larger population in the hive, no problem. And by shaking them kind of, some here and some there and some there, you're just kind of moderating the march, right? They're not
Right.
just all going to show up at the doorstep all at one time. That's kind of what that does in my head anyway. But this summer, Bob, remember I had those hives that I took out of the building too early and they depopulated?
Right.
There was a healthy queen walking around in those hives and like 50 bees, maybe a few more, no more than 100 maybe.
So that's one of
And
those
so
things that's
I
like,
remember
well,
you and I talked about that, and you said I'd just shake a bunch of bees in front, and I thought, well, yeah, so I did. Worked perfectly.
so it's well, I know what.
Well, like that hive that I shook out, it had been
I know a
queenless.
couple things. I
You
mean,
know a
I don't
couple
know a
things.
lot, but I
I
know a
know why
couple.
I didn't think of that.
But that hive had been queenless for at least a couple weeks. So they were ready for any kind of queen they could find.
Yeah,
At least that's my opinion
yeah.
of it.
Well,
But then it's just
but
like I was watching, is it Jared in Tennessee
Jared,
Beekeeper?
yeah.
And he was talking about Bob Binney's way of making queens. And I watched the way, basically he put a frame of eggs in or larvae that he grafted. And then I think he put some food frames on either side, but he didn't put any other brood in there. So when he shook all them bees outside, they only had one thing to focus on. Now
Yep.
that's one mistake that I would put brood in there. And that means that the hives have to kind of disperse across to keep everything warm, and they're not just focused on that frame. And then he finally kind of opened my eyes up. Even though he's just starting, kind of like where I'm at. It's like, hey, you need to harvest nurse bees from, pull brood frames up, queen excluders underneath of them, harvest those nurse bees out of all these multiple hives, shake them in the front so they all kind of go in there, and then just pack that hive out with all these nurse bees. And then you'll have 30 good cells, I think, that are, as long as you've grafted well, that they'll draw them out and cap them and everything.
Yeah.
And it's for me, my thing is if I can see it, then I understand it better. And then it's also, I find it so much of this, they'll talk about a procedure, but there's these very important, detailed steps
Yeah.
that they'll kind of like fly over top of and don't mention them. And then you do the procedure and it fails.
Yep.
And it's like, well, that's because you didn't do this, this, and this in order to make that technique work for you. And that's one thing I've always tried to,
I was going to comment. You mentioned that the hive that you shook out, they were queenless for a period of time, and I don't think it matters. And this is why I don't think it matters. Even if there's a queen in that hive, you don't want to shake the queen in front. But what I'm saying is, when you shake those bees, the flyers are going to fly, right? They're going to go back where they came from. So the bees that are going to crawl are the young bees. Young bees aren't a threat. They're very easy to get along with, and they're an asset. I think a hive looks at those young bees as a very welcome asset. Oh, here's a young bee. This bee can feed our brood. This bee can, build comb and process feed and all that kind of stuff. I think it's the old bees that, are a little questionable because they're a little more
well, that's
aggressive.
something that I will, it's like I said in the video about it, and I got this from you, and I never really I don't try to have laying worker hives to begin with,
Yeah.
but you stated, that when you shake a laying worker hive out, most of them bees are just all going to fly away.
Yeah, they hit the ground.
And I'm like, well, you know what? I never took notice of that and all that. Now I shook that first hive out, which was that hive that had a virgin queen in there, but they weren't laying worker. And it's like, I shook them out in the field. Now they all flew or done something because they all seemed like that they flew, and then all the faces of all those hives that were close to them, there was bees up on the front face of the hive box.
You removed their hive, right?
Yeah,
So they couldn't go back anywhere, so they drifted.
they drifted over to other hives and stuff. But I could have better utilized their bee powers, I call it, by shaking them in weaker hives. I could have went down and found. I could have went down and maybe
Perhaps.
found 2 or 3 nukes. That maybe I could diminish the amount.
There you go. So I did it with a small queen right colony that needed help. The flyers went back to their location and walked into the box next to them.
The flyers are always going to go back. If you take the box away, they'll drift to the next best thing. The next thing that looks like home. You see my pallets here. They kind of look the same. And I could take this hive out and check it and say, oh, there's no queen. So I just shake them out. And guess where? Now they're all clustered on the corner of this one because it's the same.
Maybe we just all got confused.
Pallet. It's a blue pallet. It looks exactly the same. So it's just the same corner of the same looking pallet. But, they're all assets. And I think that's where, letting the old bees in. I've still never had a problem with that. I shook out so many bees this year. It was just crazy. I had so much bearding and drifting. It's remarkable looking, but I don't worry about it at all.
Well, while we got 69 to 70 people on, I just want to let people know I will be in Biloxi, Mississippi on the 3rd and 4th of November at the I guess it is the Mississippi State Beekeeping Conference down there. So if anybody's in the area, come by and say, hey, let me see. What's Ian saying here? I'll newspaper in the spring because the temps in the evening drop pretty quick. And if I shake them, they won't, and they don't get in, they'll die.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot like my mentor, he takes a bottle of, obviously this time of year is kind of cold at night, but he'll take a bottle with 1-to-1 and a little bit of vanilla extract in them, and he'll just squirt them down and put them in the colony right straight away. Of course.
Well, that's Bob Binney, right?
Yeah,
that's Bob Binney. He just sprays them down with sugar water, and he, in the his gentle way, he says, by the time they're done licking each other off, they're all sisters. And I think he's got to be right. He's been doing it long enough, so he wouldn't steer you wrong. So I just think a lot of this, we do queen introductions. We're all careful about that and everything, and we start doing newspaper combines and all kinds of complicated things. I think we're kind of taught to be a lot more careful than we really need to be. I mean, a newspaper combine isn't bad. They come together pretty fast.
Let's see. Just reading the chat up here. Ian thought you were funny.
Yeah, that's what I've always been doing is newspaper chats and stuff or newspaper combines. And usually it takes about 24 hours, and
it's not long.
They got a pretty good hole.
Can I show you a picture, Bob?
Sure.
Okay, let me bring it up and I'll show you.
As long as it's not you in a bikini.
It's family. It's suitable for work. Okay, let me see. We'll go back here, and all right. Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got, what is it, half-gallon jars on there?
Yeah, there's half-gallon jars on all those 6s. So I got my apiary cleaned up a little bit, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to take this picture. It maybe should have been better from the other direction, but all of the nukes, this picture represents my work this summer. So all of the nukes that you see here in this picture, other than the row of nukes off to the right, everything in these 2 little rows right in front of the camera, that represents my increase this summer. So that's 100% my grafted queens. And not only that, but my zombie nukes provided 100% of the resources for these nukes and my cell builder. Isn't that remarkable?
You got what, about 100 nukes there, Brad?
There's likely about 100 there, yeah.
Yeah.
So you basically have as many, well, you probably have a little less nukes than you have entire full colonies in your...
Actually, I have probably a few more nukes than I have production colonies. Well, I do, because these over... Can you see my pointer?
Yes.
Yep.
So these nukes over here, these are the early May splits. So if I count those in, then I have a few more nukes than I have production colonies. So that's next year's honey crop right here.
Now Shane's got a question there about, he's trying to keep a nuke over winter, but I don't know what's. He's up here with you all, so he should be inside with that, I think.
In through the winter, never should I wrap? I never have wrapped in my building. It's 4 degrees in my building, though. So that's my conditions. I've never wrapped them, and I've had decent success. How big is that nuke? How many frames?
Let's see.
Wait for the delay.
Yeah, it's 10-second delay each way. So.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if he was an outdoor, if he kept his outside or inside. And
There's not a lot of people that winter nukes outdoors. There are some, but most of them go indoors.
you could you could put yours in a deep freeze and it's probably warmer than it is outside.
Yeah, it might be. It might be.
It's like 0 degrees in the deep freeze and like negative 18 on the outside.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
winters
that's
outdoors.
the upper home yard. Upper home yard. Yeah, it's just up a little bit higher ground from the yard that flooded.
All right, it said sorry, 12 frame and not putting inside, wondering if bees will keep warm on the inside good enough.
Indoors?
No, outside. He says he winters outdoors.
Okay.
He must have a 6/6 then.
Is it a poly hive or is it a wood hive?
Yeah, because that's that second hive there next to me. That's a poly hive.
So his initial question, I have a nuke I'm intending to bring through winter. I've never kept nukes wintered before. Should I wrap? Or is a nuke box small enough to keep warm on the inside on its own? Okay. So I think what you're asking is, can you winter that nuke outdoors?
And will the bees be able to keep it warm enough inside the box?
Yes, you can.
It's 6 over.
I'm
wood.
not in your climate zone, so find somebody local to ask. Really, they wouldn't make it here without being wrapped for sure.
6/6. I think he's in Ontario, right? Wait, Brad, you're eating the popcorn tonight. Charlie must be going to get cheesecake.
I'm doing the popcorn tonight. I hope it's okay.
Oh,
In the snacky mood today.
I'm in the presence of greatness. You can do whatever you want.
Greatness can do what he wants, eh? Well, I worked in the apiary today, but boy, I didn't seem to get much done. I did just cleaning up these days, so.
I am going to be a vendor down there, believe it or not.
Oh, good for you.
So it's going to be Mamet's booth, but he said I can bring my swarm lure down.
Oh, I see.
So
that'll be exciting.
He's in Ottawa, Ontario.
Yeah. Well, I know it can get kind of cold in Ottawa. It's a very different climate than here, though. I wouldn't try and winter that outdoors without wrapping it. I probably do have enough for everybody if you want to show up.
Yeah. By the time we get there, it'll be gone, though.
It'll be gone by the time you get here.
Fresh out. Sorry, guys.
Yep. Go home.
Oh, you got to go 45 miles to the store and pick up some more microwave popcorn.
That's right.
Bring it back. What you got, Charlie?
I'm just setting up a heater here.
So nukes outdoors, do you have colonies that you can wrap that nuke with? If you can have a full 10 frame colony, double deep outdoors wrap that nuke beside it or between two double deeps. That would be great. So that would be my advice.
Greg said, I hadn't planned on going, but I might ride down just to meet Just Bob. I'm just Bob, man. That's it.
It's Big Bob.
Hey, Big Bob.
Bob, your uncle.
Bob the uncle. Yeah, so it'll be fun times. Fun times.
Sure.
I talked to Randy McCaffrey, and he lives right there, but he said he wasn't planning to go to the show, so I don't know. He lives in Gulfport, so it's not far from there, I guess. You got popcorn too now, Charlie?
No, I got the other part sub.
So it's actually cold enough here. I'm wearing long pants in the apiary now.
Really? Long pants. Did you get some of those like workout pants from the 80s that you zip the legs off and they turn into short pants when it warms up just enough?
No.
It's just enough, right?
They're sweatpants though, so it stay warm. I'm still wearing t-shirts, so not that
like
warm.
when it's a little bit colder, because I can wear long sleeves and the bee stings don't hurt as bad. They still can't. I mean, I can't believe it. Even I can wear long gloves and they will miss that glove entirely and get right here on the elbow. It's like,
no, I like it. Ian, long pants? Damn, winter's close. You betcha. It's going to be a hard winter if I'm wearing long pants in October.
He's better than a thermostat to tell you what the temperature is.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it's cold. I got to put pants on. That's funny.
Still a t-shirt though, so not that cold.
Let me see. We got to find Bob his stream snack. Everyone is eating but him. That's right. Well, the only thing I have in here is honey and appy tablets, so it doesn't sound too appealing.
Appy tab and gin.
Yeah. Anything that tastes good with gin.
Just about, I think.
So the other night, and a couple of you guys know this, but the other night we were sitting here and, I had my traditional monster here. I'm like, oh, you know what? It was in the after stream, and I said, I'm going to mix me a little bit of, I put a little gin in here and topped it off. And then we got done, and I didn't finish the drink, and I forgot that it had alcohol in it. And I went to bed and set it on my nightstand. I woke up a couple times during the night, and I was like drinking the whole night out of this gin-laden Monster Energy drink. I mean, it was the best night's sleep ever. I woke up like
a low level buzz all night.
I woke up at 11:30 the next day. I was like, man, that was a good sleep.
That's pretty funny. I can't believe you drink Monster at night.
I drink Monster. Look, I drink zero sugar Monster.
That's full of caffeine, isn't it?
Zero sugar. Well,
what's it, high in caffeine or something?
That's what they say. It's got total zero sugars, a lot of vitamins, B12, B6, B5, but it doesn't just have vitamins. It's got like vitamin B12. It's got 490% of your daily intake.
That's called uppers.
Yeah!
That's exactly what that is.
So what does that taste like?
I've
never had it.
They have all different flavors. It's kind of an acquired taste. The first time you taste it, you're like, oh my gosh. But then after
kind of like buckwheat honey.
Yeah, like buckwheat honey. Like lanternfly honey. So caffeine makes him sleep, has the opposite effect on him. They say that it doesn't affect me from sleeping either, obviously, but they say like ADD or one of those, it actually, caffeine has the opposite effect as getting you hyper. It actually acts as a downer. So if this is working as a downer on me, you guys would be don't ever let me not have one.
We should be thankful.
You should be
thankful to Monster.
See, I mean, I'm guys, I know I don't seem like it on here, but I am actually an educated guy. I don't just play one on YouTube. It's one of those funny, eat the appy tab and you won't have mites. Well, there's no study on that. So
no, you can't say that. There's no science behind it.
There's no science behind it. So that's what we're gonna say now.
Well, it's true.
Well, it is true. I mean, but the thymol might help me with my nosema that I've been experiencing the last few days.
There is
probably
from behind that.
Probably from the gin all night long.
Yep.
But the Let me see.
But a scientific principle is that your findings need to be reproducible
Right.
to be really valid. Like that's part of the peer review process, right? So if
Right.
you have a product that has, one study, it's not really valid on its own. Someone else has to be able to reproduce that.
That's true. I cannot deny that. I will not refute that, sir.
I don't make this stuff up. That's the way it works.
It's the way it works for sure. But yeah.
No, Russell, I'm avoiding that. I worked in it. It's kind of a matter of make hay while the sun shines. I'm not making hay, but sun shining, so I'm cleaning up my apiary, etc. Oh, I screwed up too. I mixed my syrup
Oh
on.
my God, we'll let anybody in the stream.
Oh, just let anybody in here.
Are you still hungover from your class reunion?
I'm almost back. Almost normal.
Almost normal again.
It was pretty rough.
Well, I talked to you today. You were out in your bee yard.
Yep.
What did you have going on?
Well, I was supposed to clean house and put some tablets on and then pull that honey. And I did 2 of the 3. I'll let you guess which one I didn't do.
You didn't pull honey?
He didn't clean house.
I didn't clean house.
Oh, your actual house. Yeah.
No, the bee yard.
Oh, okay.
I had
I
stuff.
cleaned mine. You should see it. It's incredible.
Well, and I have to say, he actually told me what he was doing when I called, so I knew he had been pulling honey. So I had a 50-50 shot after that point.
But
I'll
tell you this. Remember, Bob, when you said pull that honey and
give it a taste test.
And I did, and I tasted Listerine, but I did it on another hive, and man, I didn't taste Listerine, but I didn't take it. I said, nope, it's been treated, not going to do it. So I'll just equalize with food frames in, I don't know, a month.
And save yourself some feed fees there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to try to taste that honey, because if it's as good as you say it is.
Oh, it's unreal. It's unreal. It's crazy good.
And you learned a hard lesson. If you see that blooming, no treatment till after.
Watch for the rain.
Is that blue stuff?
Blue curl. Yeah.
Curl.
Blue curl, vinegar weed, whatever they want to call it. It's even worse than I thought. So when I was going through putting tablets on, there has to be, well, all the doubles, the second box is full. Well, not full, but it's heavy.
Right.
So I bet there's probably 300 pounds of honey out there. Yeah, 300-400 pounds I left out there. So, oh well.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
But it's only $3,000-$4,000 you left on the colonies.
Yeah. But I bet I spend that much money in sugar, so
I lost 3 times that yesterday.
You spend that much money
there.
We're not going to go there.
We're not going to go there.
No, don't go off the road into the ditch.
But
I'll be prepared next year, though. I swear I am not going to. If it rains like it did last year,
I say that every year.
Well, we don't get rain.
I do too.
It's a freaking desert.
Every year is just, this is not going to happen to me next year. And then it happens again.
Well, I keep waiting on this grand honey flow, nectar flow that everybody's talking about. And then I go over to my mentor. He's like, "Oh, we haven't had a good honey flow in about 10 years around here." I'm like, "Oh, killing me, Smalls, you're killing me." So it just is what it is. Is what it is.
Well, they talk about that in that fall flow here, and I'm like, there's no fall flow here. But now if you happen to be in a certain Pacific area, you might find something, but not around here.
I've got the I don't know. I mean, they just kind of everything stopped today. They wanted feed and they wanted pollen supplement, in the feeder, and they were just dragging it in.
I was seeing pollen coming in yesterday. I couldn't believe it. And not a little bit either. There was lots of bees out there covered in pollen.
So now it's a race against, are you going to let them brood, or are you going to fill them up to where she has no room to lay?
Well, they're filled. They're
All right,
got
well,
just about everything they're going to get.
Yeah, we haven't had much this fall. We haven't had much this year, really. Maybe next year will be better. We'll just keep plugging at it. And had somebody wants to get my honey and put it in a restaurant, and I told the guy that told me about it, I said, yeah, I'm not really set up for that. I mean, I am. I mean, I've got enough honey to a small restaurant could buy it for me,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's set up for my prices, because, how much you want? Yep, that's the same price. Great, let's add it up, and figure it out. But it'll work out, I think.
Lee is sick.
No, he said he wasn't feeling very well
Yeah.
just now.
Who's that?
Well,
Who's
I
that?
hope his sleep doesn't better.
Lee.
Yeah, he doesn't get a lot of sleep, I don't think.
I was sitting here watching the game, and I was looking at my phone, and I'm like, well, Bob isn't going to go live tonight. And then I look on Messenger, and it says I'm live, and it was like at 5 o'clock or 5:05 or something. I never got the notification.
That's because you unsubscribed to me.
Blocked.
You're not supposed to know that. Brad, why'd you tell him? No, I'm kidding.
I didn't. You just did.
You told on yourself, sir. You told on yourself.
No, I didn't. I've subscribed. It happened last week too.
Well, it's odd because over the last few days, my videos have seemed to increase in views. Like the little live I did this morning has already got 225 views. It's really kind of odd. Usually a small video like that, it'll get 40, 50 views and just slowly grow over.
It's up that much, eh?
Yeah, about 5 times in a day,
Wow.
Let me see. And so it's a little bit strange, but it's all good. It's all good.
Sure.
Man, don't everybody talk at once. So, Todd, you watched Dr. Ramsey, right? They
Yes,
already
sir.
talked about it. I did not see it.
What was your big takeaway? Todd and I were kind of talking on Messenger during the whole thing.
I don't know if there was one single thing, but I did learn that formic might be effective against it. I think the speed of the mite and that it stays in the cell most of the time. That's interesting. And the other thing, Brad, that we were talking about was it takes a 4-month holiday or 3. What was that?
Yeah, 4 months. They just leave and they don't know where they go.
So, okay. So if formic is the most effective thing for them, what do you do if you live in a zone that you can't really use formic because it's too hot?
I asked the question about that, about temperature. Do the mites live? Do they thrive in a hot or dry area? And they don't really know, except that I didn't
Talking about Todd.
What was that? I missed it. I couldn't talk and read at the same time. Oh,
I just popped up, Bob, you are hanging out with greatness. And he said he's talking about Todd.
But so hot or cold, humid or dry, they don't know yet. But they do know that, in Southeast Asia, it's humid. So who knows?
Russell, I don't have no idea.
But he did. Did you catch what he said about Canada, Brad? The cold winters will probably disrupt the life cycle. So,
Well, Randy Oliver alluded to that in one presentation. He said that it probably wouldn't take hold in Canada. He said because they can't live without brood, and we have a pretty decent broodless period every winter. So, maybe we'll get away lucky.
but I saw the video he put up of the mice scurrying around the
It's
comb,
pretty amazing that he got that footage, eh?
and they're fast and they're small.
Yeah.
I mean,
About the
you
third
really
of
have
the
to
size of a Varroa.
yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
Much
Really
smaller.
small.
yeah.
So, do they have any kind of timeline or when they think that we might actually see them here? Or
It doesn't seem like they're on the doorstep, but it's just something that
on the horizon?
they have to work on it before they. Better to work on it before they arrive, right?
Right.
That's what Randy he was has been talking about. It's like, give me this funding, and get the research done before they come. Because he said we didn't do that the last time when the mites got here, and then we were SOL.
Caught with their pants down.
And then you're always trying to play catch up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he did mention that if they could get in front of it like that, if they know that the point of entry, there's a real good chance they can fight it back and keep it out. But they don't want it to become a case where it just kind of spreads and no one says anything or reports anything, and then before you know it, they have a foothold. So that'll be interesting. I don't know where it would pop up. If it pops up in California first, I'm leaving. So don't blame me.
Well, it'll either be Florida or California, probably,
Yeah,
just because of pollination, right?
Yeah.
Well, it lies at the ports.
Yeah, a lot of import stuff, right? So it is. I mean, it's not going to get easier.
No.
We just use what we can and try to knock them out best we can, and make it happen.
Yeah.
I might be retired by then.
That might drive me to retirement.
Yeah.
Oh, new mite. I'm out. I can't.
Yeah. What was that? He was talking about another Varroa cousin. There's I forgot what it was called.
I missed that part.
Oh yeah, there's another Varroa that's in Southeast Asia, but they contained it. But he didn't go into detail about it, but it was like a Varroa cousin.
Well, there's
Honeybee compound. That's what they thought about at Wuhan lab.
Yeah.
They had it contained. So they're talking. I can't even say it. What's the name of this mite?
Tropolalaps.
Tropolalaps.
Are you talking about Varroa jacobsoni?
No.
Todd? No. Okay.
Something I never heard before. And I think it was in the Q&A that he mentioned it.
Okay.
But he did say, hey, Robert, he did.
Hey, Robert.
I lost my train of questioning here.
New mite.
Anyway, it was an interesting thing. And supposedly, it was recorded. Supposedly, they're going to release it, the recording soon. I'll have to listen to it again because I did kind of check out for 5 minutes. I was checking my eyelids.
Now, where did you say you could find that replay of that?
I don't know yet.
I don't know, but what was it? Honeybee
Honeybee Health
Health
Coalition.
Coalition.
I don't know whether or not whether you'll find a replay of that because he's pretty tight on that kind of stuff.
He did say, not him, the host said, yes, we will be publishing it.
I mean, when he was at my club, I invited or hired him. We could not do any recording.
And you're right. He might have overstated what he's going to be allowed to do.
Well, I know when I clicked that link, it popped up with a box that I had to put a code in, and I didn't have the code, so I was like, "Oh, guess I'm not watching this one."
There was a limited number of participants,
So maybe I
you
was just too
you
late.
might have been 301.
Yeah, well, that's pretty par for the course.
Uh-huh.
I just signed
$1
up.
short and a day late, eh, buddy?
Yeah, that's always.
That's my life too.
And when you do,
Good luck.
no, go ahead, Robert. I was just gonna say something I probably shouldn't have said anyway. So go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. I just
Chances are.
popped in because I had a question for you guys. I went over to the my shop, and I have all my honey supers stacked up. And in past years, my honey supers, I haven't had any issue because I leave them out. I put them on the hives and they dry them out, and then I put them in storage. And this year, because I took them off late in the season, remember I put them back on and they refilled them. And then I re-extracted them, and then I put them out and let them rob them out. Maybe I didn't leave them out long enough, but I put them back in the shop and stacked them all up. And I didn't think anything of it. I put them away just like I normally do. And then I went over there today, and there was like gnats all over the supers flying around them. And I lift the lid on them, and there's I don't think it's wax moth, but it could be. But they're these little worms, but they're or larvae, but they're much smaller, I think, than a normal wax moth. They're real tiny, but they're covered. They're covered in gnats and these little tiny waxworm looking things. There's no waxworm webbing or anything like that. Just these tiny little maggot looking things, and they're tiny. I mean, they're I don't know if they're the gnats, and that's their larva for the gnats, but because they're just small little maggots. They don't even fill a cell. Like you could fit probably 10 of them in a cell or 6 of them in a cell. But anyway,
hive beetles do that too.
It's not hive beetles. I know hive beetles, but so they're covered in that, and they're all molding. I've never seen. I don't know. I've just never seen these. I've seen wax moth larvae before, and they're bigger. They're
wax moth. Like there's lesser and greater, right? You know that?
Yeah.
I did not.
The lesser are way smaller than the greater.
Oh, excuse me for that. I'm sorry.
There's no webbing. There's no webbing.
Yeah, that would indicate it's not wax moth, but that's what I thought to begin with too. If it was smaller, it might be lesser wax, because I see both. I think I probably see more lesser wax moth here, but that's irrelevant. So anyway, I was just going to mention that. But the lack of webbing, and the little gnats you see, are they moving?
Oh yeah, and they're not like a house gnat. Like they look like more like a hard shell, and they are crawling mostly. They fly, but they are crawling, and they're really fast. And there's a shit ton of them. I don't know what they are.
Is it broodcomb or just
fruit fly?
They're not like a fruit fly, like a house fly. They're more. I don't know how to explain it. They're not something I'm familiar.
They're just little black flies.
They're not like flies. They're more like.
They're like a little gnat, though. I mean, that's kind of what they look like.
Yeah, they're the size of a gnat, but they're more. They don't look like a normal fly. They're weird looking.
I get those down here sometimes out in the shed as well.
Yeah, they crawl real fast. They do fly, but they crawl real fast, and they're all over the top of the frames. And there's mold all through my frames. So tomorrow I'm gonna go over and rinse them down with the hose, and then dip them in bleach water to save whatever I can. But I've never. What?
Okay, so go back. Is it broodcomb or is it honeycomb?
It is the honey supers, but remember this year, because I didn't put queen excluders, I ended up with, or I should say brood excluders. I ended up with brood all through my supers.
Why don't you just...
This is what I use to kill mine in my shed.
Why don't you just put some mothball crystals on there? So I did that today because I had a couple boxes I took off from a couple colonies that just are not making great. But I stack up 10 frame boxes, excuse me, and then I'll put an excluder down about every 3 or 4 boxes, and then I'll put a paper plate on that. Then I'll sprinkle on about a cup or so of those wax moth or what the heck, the crystals. What
Paramoth.
Paramoth? Yeah, you could buy it at Walmart. I forgot what it's called, but Enos or whatever, the Enos brand, mothball crystals. Then you stack a couple more, 2, 3 boxes on top of that. And you put another excluder up there, and you could put a plate up there and sprinkle more. It's heavy, and so when it off gases, it sinks. But you got to cover the top. With what I do is I cover it with I get a super, and then I have the foamy stuff, and I put it over the top of that super. Then I mash down a telescoping lid on it. Then I put a weight on top of that. That way, it's not getting combined with air. Sometimes I'll tape each box where it breaks, where the box break is at. So it's totally confined in there and gas is off in there. It'll kill everything.
My issue is the mold more than anything. The little larvae and stuff like that. I threw them in the first, the top about 5. I threw in a freezer just to kill them off, and then I'll rotate more. But there's quite a bit of those, whatever they are, the larvae. But the mold is like everything's molding, and I've never had that happen before either.
I've never worried about it.
The bees will take
No, it's covered, like completely covered. The entire surface is covered.
Like white or green mold?
Yes.
Yeah, I've done that. I've had that happen. They'll take care of it. And nothing to worry about it. Don't scrape it out. That's a waste. They'll fix it.
Yeah, I was listening to Fred. Actually, the irony of this is I had listened to Fred Dunn's video today, and he was specifically talking about spraying them down with bleach water. I'm like, why would you do that? Because I'm like, I've never had to worry about that. And then I go over there tonight, and they're full of mold and everything, and I'm thinking, oh, well, that's why.
Mike
you have foamies on
just
top?
saying vinegar instead of bleach.
Yeah. Do you have insulated covers or foamy or something on top of the hive under the cover itself or lid?
Are you talking about out in the field?
Well, what happens to me is I get the condensation bouncing off the foamies, and then it drips back down onto the frames.
Oh, no.
It causes the mold.
No, I just have I have a bunch of cut boards that I put on top of the supers.
Mm-hmm.
And so about every 5th super, I put a board down to separate the compartments, basically. And then that way, in the event that wax moths get in, which obviously they can't, then that at least tries to keep them in a 5 frame, within 5 boxes.
Oh, see,
in the past, I've only had honey supers. Now they're brood supers, so that's my problem. And but like I said, I don't think it's wax moths because there's no webbing. It's all these I should have taken pictures of it, but there's just hundreds of these little tiny little larvae that are, about half, maybe a third of the size of a small hive beetle. They're tiny.
Well, someone was saying a lesser wax moth, and somebody said a bee louse is a gnat that lays in the hive, but according to Google, are harmless.
Well, they're not doing any damage from what I can tell. They're just all through it. They're just laying their egg. It looks like those little gnats are laying their eggs in there, and they're turning into like worm or larvae, and then that's what it looks like to me, because there's just hundreds of these gnats all over them. Well, I've never had it before. I just thought I'd ask you guys because it's just strange.
That's even a better reason to get the wax moth or the mothball crystals.
Yeah, the active ingredient is dichlorobenzene.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get the naphthalene. The best way to remember, if it starts with an N, that's no.
Right.
If it's got the D, the dichloride benzene, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, I remember that from you guys saying that a couple times. So I'm definitely going to go order some of that. But like you said, tomorrow I'm going to take and hose them down and then dip them in bleach. They said, what's his name?
Fred Dunn.
Fred Dunn. Thank you. My mind's fried today. But Fred Dunn, he suggested a 10% mix of bleach water. So I'm going to try that. And then I'll put that crystals in there. I'll order them tonight on Amazon, and then they'll be here in a day or two. But like I said, I was kind of concerned about this little larva, but I don't know what the hell it is.
Well, you won't have to worry about it when those mothball crystals get to them. They'll be toast.
Gotcha.
Gone.
Yeah, they're in the freezer right now. Like I said, I put the first 5 in the freezer, and I'm just gonna. I mean, the problem is I've got 90 of them, so I can't, in a reasonable method, do that. But
well, I found the same thing as Todd did when they get a little moldy or whatever you want to call it on there. I just drop them in the hive. The bees take care of it, and next thing you come back, you don't see it anymore. It's just gone.
Yeah, some of these, I should send you a picture. They're coated. I mean, they're just, it's every inch, and it's like it's a film. It's not like a little bit. It's literally growing. They're hairy. So
Was it a damp area that you got them in?
Yeah.
Robert?
There's a moisture issue you have going on somewhere.
Yeah, so last year I stored them in my garage. This year they're in my shop, and there is I just patched it. There was a water leak where the wood burning stove went through the roof. It was leaking, and it was right above the supers.
There you go. That's what it is. That
dehumidifier.
Yeah, dehumidifier too. Yeah.
Yeah, I turned it on. It's over there. It's running right now. So I didn't realize that at the time. In one of those things, you think everything's taken care of, and you walk in there and you're like, "What's all the gnats about?" Oh man! And then there's all this mold and everything else. It's like, Jesus, something so simple.
It's always when you think you got it taken care of.
Yeah, I did it. I dried them all out and everything. Like I said, I even took them out, let them rob them out. So they were. I thought they were dry, but honestly, they're not very dry. I thought they were drier than they are, but when I took them apart tonight, they're still quite wet, considering.
I leave them out there until the bees stop messing with them.
Yeah, I only left them out for about 3 to 5 days. I should have left them out longer.
So when you say wet, you mean sticky with some honey residue?
Yeah, lots of honey residue.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually thought about just opening up the garage or the shop door and letting the bees come in. But I already got in trouble by the bee police over there, so I didn't think that was the best idea.
Yeah. If you got windows in your garage, don't do that.
I tried. I actually tried doing that. They wouldn't come into the windows. The bees would not come into the windows. I left the...
No, what I'm saying is if you open the doors, if you have windows in your building, and I can't believe they do this, but they come in this great big overhead door, get their fill of whatever they're attracted to, and then instead of thinking, let's go back out the overhead door, no, they go to the window and fly on the window forever until they die.
Yeah. Yeah.
You say bees are smart? Well, they have their limitations.
Yeah.
I left my
got a little tiny brain.
A little tiny brain. It's like, let's go back the way we came. No, let's find a new way. Look,
I
a
left
window
my
that doesn't open.
capper set there for a week. I needed to clean it out, and I was like, well, I'll let the bees clean it out before I clean it out because there was quite a bit of residue left in it. So I left the back windows open so that way they could just fly right in. And they didn't come in at all. They come in as far as the windowsill, and that was it. They wouldn't come into the tank. I thought that was pretty incredible.
It's dark. I found they don't fly into a dark area very well.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be pitch black either. If it's not daylight, they know that, and they generally don't. Like my little building in the apiary, bees will start chasing me and they'll start stinging me. I'll just go into my building. They don't follow me in the building.
Yeah, it was funny. I even tried coaching them in. I put some honey. I just took something and scraped it across the bottom of the on Capper and set it in the windowsill. And I'll tell you, they came in, they cleaned all that up off the windowsill, but they wouldn't come into the tank, which was like 3 feet in front of it. I was like, are you kidding me? I thought for sure they would just fly right in, but they wouldn't. You got to drag it outside.
Something to do with that they see that point of light. I don't know. It's weird.
It's strange.
Because I've literally had them, I think I spilled some syrup on my garage floor one time. It was like 8 feet in front of the overhead door on the floor. Opened the overhead door, which is 8 feet high and 10 feet wide. All these bees came in, cleaned up all the syrup, and then died on my windows. So
At least they died happy.
They died with a full stomach. I couldn't believe it. It was such a dramatic failure. So I'll never do that again.
You like me, I had those black flies in there that you're talking about in my building. And I took some fly spray and did it around, because they also would go to the glass, right? So I sprayed fly spray around the door, and they would go there and die. And then I forgot about said fly spray when I came in and started spinning out honey supers. And all the bees are going to the glass and getting on the fly spray and then dropping. And then you open the door and it's no good. They're gone. Just suck them up in the vacuum. Randy says he's been leaving his supers wet, and he's been keeping bees over there since 1977.
Yeah, I put mine away wet or dry. It doesn't matter. I put them away wet.
I'm betting, now that you guys brought it up, I bet it was just the fact that the roof's been dripping right there. It's literally right underneath the drip. I went over there just the other day and I seen the puddle on the ground there, and I went up and recocked reflashed the chimney. And so I'll bet money that's why that water's been dripping down inside those supers.
Oh, I know if they get wet, they'll mold right away.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I didn't even think about it till we just started talking about it. It's right underneath the old chimney.
Since we've been talking about this, it reminded me that I need to go on Amazon and order more mothball or moth crystals. And they're freaking expensive. Last year I was paying $4 something a 1 pound bag, and now some of these people want to sell a 1 pound bag for $14.50.
Wow!
Sticking it to the man.
2 bags for $25. I mean, this is crazy.
They're sticking it to the man, sir.
Yeah, they are. They are. Crazy. And you can't get it in Walmart anymore. Can't find it.
You can't find them at Walmart anymore?
Not the moth ice crystals. You can't. I don't know.
Hey, while I'm thinking about this, I told Bob the other day, I finally got a hold of an inside contact at the sugar plant, and what this would likely be the same situation for every listener on this video stream, unless there's like where Bob's at, he has tanker trucks, right? They're producing the sugar in large volumes and shipping out in tankers. Well, the 2 largest sugar company or sugar distributors in the United States only have, this is coming from the representative I talked to him, there's only like 2 or 3 bulk liquid distributors in the United States. The rest of the cities around the country use what they call their 2,000 pound tote. And I forget what I had the name of it, and I can't remember what it is. But anyway, they distribute their sugar in 2,000 pound totes, and they do them in the back of box trucks. So if those totes,
cardboard totes, right?
Cardboard totes with plastic bag liners, and if those bags or the tote get damaged in any way, and when I say damaged, all it has to happen is the cardboard deflects like more than 3 inches. It's defective, and they discount the totes of sugar. And when I say discount the tote of sugar, from the numbers I'm getting, it's fractional of, so 2,000 pounds could be as little as like under $200. And they don't even charge you. Well, anyway, long story short, you guys should check into it, because I know originally we said, well, you have to get a tanker truck. That's not the case. You can get these 2,000 pound totes, and from the numbers I'm getting, it's under $200. So, yeah, that's pretty, and it's 70-30 mix.
Same stuff I'm getting.
Yep. So you guys should check into your area and see if you can get a hold of somebody. It's strictly underneath distressed sugars is what they call it. And I think Randy said in the, I never have my chat. I can't see my chat and my phone at the same time. So I apologize if anybody's typing in the chats, but Randy said, I think he picks up distressed sugars in granule form, but this is liquid form. But I would say everybody on this call is probably in an area where they could probably get a hold of those 2,000 pound totes if they check around, because they're being warehoused. If they're being warehoused, then they're getting damaged or they're expiring.
Right. And the bees don't care.
For a 2,000 pound tote for $200, that's pretty insane.
I'm gonna buy some more boxes. Too many tablets going on. I gotta buy more boxes again. So let me see, what time is it? Only 9:30. Wow, we only been going an hour and 33 minutes. Seems longer than that.
Todd,
Thank you, Bob.
I just got here.
That's because we're in the presence of greatness.
We enjoy your company too. He's still here.
Todd,
You're still on this damn stream? It's only
He's
been an
still
hour and
here.
a half. No, I'm just kidding.
Todd, do you have any sugar distributors in your area that you know of?
3 hours away, 3.5 hours away.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Oh, time to refill the gin and Fresca.
Oh, it'd be a day trip.
I would definitely look into it, because, like I said, we have what I found out. We have like 6 distributors in within 3 hours of me.
Yeah.
So, and they're all using those totes.
Now, are these distributors or manufacturing?
Both.
Because I mean, Domino Sugar, Domino's
American
in
Sugar
Baltimore.
Group.
Domino Sugar is going to be one of them. And if they don't have a liquid terminal there, like Bob's place that he's talking about has a liquid terminal, but Domino told me that there's only 2 or 3 liquid terminals in the United States for Domino. So they have the one near Bob, they have one in Chicago, and one, I forget where he said the third one. I want to say it was New York, but there's only 3 locations where they distribute the bulk. Everywhere else, they distribute in the 2,000 pound totes.
As far as liquid goes.
As far as liquid goes, yeah. But I mean, that's I mean, if you have, let's call it 30 hives, that's a year's worth of sugar in one tote for $200.
You know, usually during the pollination season, there's a guy that gets on, I think it's Facebook, and he sells totes. But last year he was selling a tote full for $600.
That's what I bought my tote for.
So, hey Bob, I just wanted to tell you I have sugar available for $2,000 for a 200-gallon tote.
200-gallon tote.
I mean, I'm going with Todd's version here. I like his version better. The price just went up.
It's
now
I got the
1,200
brand new tote and the syrup for $600. So I feel pretty happy about that price. Sorry about the tape sound, guys.
No, I mean, I would have been thrilled with the $600 for the tote, to be honest with you.
Did you end up going to get one?
I haven't got it yet. No,
Did you get your truck you were talking about?
I did not. Turns out it had a salvage title on it, so
Of course, I
people
didn't
aren't
tell you
very.
that before you drove all the way over there to look at it.
I actually found out before I drove over there.
Okay.
When I was on my way over, and I was talking to the guy, and he brought up the fact it had a rebuilt title, and I was like, okay, well, this isn't gonna. That's not what I'm looking for.
Well. Walmart does have it in stock here. I just checked the store. 20-ounce bag for $8.10, and the regular size bag is 10 ounces, so that's $4 a bag.
Is that as cheap as what you were getting it for?
Yeah, but it's in the bigger bag now. Well, oh, you know what it is? It's moth balls, not moth crystals.
Smash them up with a hammer.
Yeah, I know.
Knock
That's
them.
what I'll do.
Have
I
you
hate
looked at Amazon? When I was looking at it earlier in the year, they had the two. It was like a 2-pack deal. I think it was the same stuff that Charlie had. It's like a cardboard tube style container, and they had a 2-pack on Amazon.
The one I got is it's got a plastic. It's for hooking up inside like a where you hang your clothes at. Closet.
Oh no, this one's like a the one I'm thinking of is like a tube, like a cardboard tube, and there's a 2-pack of it. I think it was like each tube was like 30 ounces or something.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen those. I thought they were only 1 pound jars or
These
whatever.
are like urinal pucks, I guess you'd call them.
Urinal cakes.
Urinal cakes.
Everything's a urinal cake. What is it, like smell or it tastes like chicken? Everything's a urinal cake now.
Everything's a urinal cake. The American Sugars Group is like the parent company for Domino and some other ones. So ASR,
Yep.
ASG, ASR, something like that. American Sugar Refineries Group or something like that. But it's, for me, the 3-hour round trip and it literally took them 5 minutes to pump it full last time.
Three bags of 50-pound bags at Costco. I mean, they're $32 or $36 a piece now. And I mean, 3 of those or 4 of those, you're getting an entire 2,000-pound tote for the same price as basically 3 or 4 of those 50-pound bags. I mean, it doesn't.
You don't have to mix. You don't have to stir. I literally put it in the bucket and shoot the water in, and that's it.
Brad, I got another. So what I've been doing like the last couple of years is I take 3 5-gallon buckets, and then I put 100 pounds between those 3 buckets. And then I take 3 gallons of boiling water and I distribute between those 3 buckets, and then I blend it up. And then the same day or later that day or the next day, I take it out to the field, and then out at the farm, I fill the rest of the water, whatever I need to make it. So when I fill it, it's 3-to-1 each bucket. And then when I get out there, I just blend in the extra water. But I tried where I was going with that, I tried your cold water method, and I left it overnight, and it just didn't work very well for me. It did eventually dissolve, but I literally went through 3 batteries and I burnt my hand drill up trying to mix it up. And so I think I'm going to go back to the boiling water method, because when I pour a gallon of boiling water into 30, let's call it 30.
Just go get your sugar, man.
What's that?
Don't worry about any of that. Just go get your sugar.
I am from now
Cheap
on.
sugar, then you don't have to mix anything. It's already mixed.
Yeah, that's from here on out. That's the deal. I was just telling Brad I tried this method with the cold water, but it just takes a lot more blending, and I like the boiling water method better because it just blends easier. So
So you're making a 2-to-1 ratio approximately?
3 to 1. So it's 33
3 sugar to 1 water?
at 1 gallon of water. Just at the house here to make it easier to transport, I take 1 gallon of boiling water and I pour it into 33 pounds
Okay,
of sugar.
no, okay, you're confusing me. You told me about a method you used that didn't work, and I'm asking you about that. So what exactly are you doing? How much sugar are you putting in that pail?
In my driveway, 33 pounds in each. I'm splitting 100 pounds between 3 buckets, 3 6
You're
gallon
putting
buckets.
33 pounds of sugar in a bucket.
Yep. And then I have 3 gallons of
And
water.
you're putting how much water? How much is it right full when you're done?
No.
Well, that's not what I told you to do. If
No,
that's what
well,
you're
I
doing.
tried. So what you had said to do is try doing it with cold water. So I did. So what I did with cold water is I filled it with sugar, 33 pounds, and then I filled the bucket just above where the sugar level was, and I maybe like an inch or so above where the sugar was. So it was basically 1.25, 1.5 to 1. And I blended it up in the driveway, and then I let it set overnight, and then I blended it in the morning, and then I took it out to the field, and I had to blend it again because it just wouldn't dissolve very well.
Well,
So that's why.
you got different sugar, different water than I have, because sorry it didn't work for you, but that's what I
Yeah.
did for years.
No. Yeah. No,
So
I understand.
sorry it didn't work for you. Sorry you burned up your little cordless drill too.
Yeah.
I'd never use anything but a corded drill for that kind of thing. It's too hard on it.
Yeah. Well, when I use the boiling water, it blends in pretty easy.
Oh, sure it does. The point is, though, after it cools, that water is not going to hold any more sugar cold, regardless of how it starts, right?
Right. I get you.
It'll dissolve to saturation when it's cold. It'll dissolve to oversaturation when it's hot. So, it'll just dissolve faster. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is it
Sorry
was
it
just
didn't work for you.
Oh no, it worked. It's just I like the boiling because it just blends easier. It just doesn't have, like you said. Normally I go through one charge to blend up. That's kind of like my meter. I blend basically until my battery dies, and then that's my I know I'm done. But this time, like I said, with cold water, it just took a lot more blending. It took me 3 batteries for some reason, but I don't know. It wasn't. I'm not complaining or anything. I just was saying, like, I think I'm going. If I can't get the liquid, which I'm going to liquid, that's my goal. Because if the minute I can get that, as soon as I get the call for that 2,000-pound tote, it's going to be here. So, and then I'm going to try to get on the list where I continue to get a 2,000-pound tote when it comes available. I mean, I don't need 15 of them in my garage, but I take 1 or 2 of them. Because from what I'm hearing from Bob and Charlie is the 3 to 1 basically will last for a very long time.
Well, I've left it in buckets for months, and it hasn't ever gone bad. No growth in it. If there's anything floating in a bucket when I open it out there and people see it, it's because it was already in there when I put the sugar in it, right? So,
yeah.
So is that sugar been cooked or whatever?
I don't know. It's
the sugar it comes out. They use hot water in that, so it is. It's 3 to 1. It's 70-30 sugar.
Yeah.
It's like the Pro Sweet. The Pro Sweet it's processed to where it won't, whatever they call that, it won't grow anything.
Yeah. So I thought if nothing else, I could take some vinegar or some bleach and just put a little bit in the container to help it stabilize if it has to.
You won't need it.
I figured if I can pick one up now and then pick another one up in the winter time here.
How many weeks has it been since I got my tote? 3 weeks. It's been sitting on the back of my truck in a clear tote with sun shining on it. nothing in it but dead bees that have somehow managed to get in it at one time.
This being in a box, it should be, it's not going to get sunlight.
Yeah, yours is different than mine, right? So yours would be in the cardboard tote.
Yeah.
And Mark from Sourwoods, he picks them up like that. But he says when he goes there, they take that tote and they drain it into a plastic tote form that he brings.
Oh.
So he never takes that tote home. So, but yeah, it works.
Do you say that they have to do that, or they just choose to do that?
No, that's what he has them do because he's got those totes strapped down. I mean, I guess they'd probably load it up for you.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I was planning, just taking the trailer up and having to put it on the back of the trailer. And then I talked to my buddy that owns the farm, and I can store it out there in the back of the barn.
But yeah, I've never had any problems with it. I mean, this year was the first year I ever really just fed it straight. And when they get down to if there's like residual in the feeder on top, it will. I mean, I've gone out there and it looks like a sheet of ice where it's the remnants have crystallized in the bottom of it where they couldn't get it out. Then I just add a little water to it and stir it up a little bit with my hive tool, and it's good to go.
Hey, Brad, have you looked into to see if there's any kind of distributors in your area?
For syrup?
Yeah, for the liquid sucrose.
Oh, sure,
Yeah,
there
they
is.
But
That's not a problem.
He's got a
Ian
good
buys it.
program.
Well, the difference is, though, this is distress. So the regular price is 50 cents per gallon for liquid, and that is on distress. That's what they're selling for the retailers. And you can be a retailer. You just got to sign up if you want to pay 50 cents a gallon. If you want to go with, if you get the distressed, the price varies a little bit, but it's under 20 cents a pound. And when they told me 20 cents a pound, they subtract out the water out of that as well.
All right, so let's do the math on that. Oh, they subtract out the water.
They take out the water as well. They only charge you for the sugar. They don't charge you for 30% for the liquid.
So 5 gallons, 80 cents, $3
This
and
turned into the sugar show.
huh?
All of a sudden, this is the sugar show.
The sugar show, baby.
The sweetest
Yeah.
show in town.
The Swedish show. It's the Swedish show in town.
Swedish show.
The Swedish show. But yeah, the I mean, I like the liquid feed that I get, and it works well for the bees. A lot of people. I mean, I'm glad they finally answered you back because it's been a minute you've been trying to get them on.
I have called them every week for about 6 weeks, and I get voicemail after voicemail. People don't call me back. They tell me to fill out forms online. That nobody comes back, and I just keep calling. Matter of fact, it's to the point that I'm in first name basis with the operator. She knows my voice, and I know her name, and where it's like, it's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, I've been calling.
The next time you just tell her, I'm on my way to pick up sugar. Have it ready for me.
Yeah, I think she's fighting for me now because she actually walked down and ran down the person that was in charge of it and got him on the phone and then transferred the phone over to him. That's how I finally got a hold of him. So yeah, she went to bat for me finally. Now, that said, I don't have the sugar yet, so I'm not going to parade around yet, but they do a lot of these surpluses or distributors as well. Randy said that he purchases the distressed sugars, the floor sweeps kind of thing. And I know Gus Mitchell did that, but he wasn't very happy because in his batch, I watched a video of his, and they literally had candy in wrappers and powdered sugar and everything in there.
Let me see. DC says the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Gets the sugar.
Let me see. I don't know if they'll stay fresh longer there, DC. I just used it quicker than it would go bad. So,
Well, I thought if I bought it over the winter time, it should be good through spring. I could be wrong, but I imagine they're warehousing this, right? It's on a shelf, so it can't have like a 3-week shelf life.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. I mean, I go there and they pump it. I don't know how they store it or anything.
Brad, have you dealt with liquid at all?
Not really. No, I can't advise you there.
Ian does liquid though, right?
Yeah,
he buys it by the tanker full.
Yeah, but doesn't Ian buy corn syrup?
I can't really speak for Ian. I don't think it's corn syrup, but I can't really say.
I think on one of his videos he talked about that. I think he used corn syrup at a point. Same with Bob Benny. He used corn syrup at a time, and I think they both went towards sucrose. I'm pretty sure, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, I think so. I know Bob. I remember that video. But I know that, like Hardiman's down there at the bee, they get a tractor and trailer load a week, something like that. I don't know what it's corn syrup or what it is. It's a lot of money.
I don't know if I get these totes, I'm going to need more bees.
You'd be surprised. That tote I got is about a third left in it, and just slamming it to them as best I can and hoping they take it. Oh, good night, Carl. I didn't even see you in the chat tonight, but I'm glad you were here. Ian uses sucrose now, Russell said. But
which is sugar.
Yeah.
That is sugar, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Liquid sugar.
Yeah, in our area, and I'm sure don't want to speak for Canada there, but I'm pretty sure the same with them is most of it's beet sugar, and our sugar around here comes out of Michigan. From what I've seen on all these bags, when I go to the grocery, they're all out of Michigan.
It's beet sugar that they sell up there to you? I don't know if it's beet sugar that they sell to me or not. I never really probed it that much. It's like, I need sugar. You got it. Put it in the tank. I'll see you later. I mean, that's literally how fast I'm in and out. I'm like,
yeah, I don't know what sugar's using, but when you go to the store and you buy Pioneer or any of the other Domino or whatever, a lot of them are beet sugar in this area.
I think Domino says it's on the bag. I think it says real cane sugar right on the bag. I think. But
well, that would make sense
now. Walmart brand usually.
Yeah, I mean, you got all the ports, and besides that, Florida is actually a large sugar producer. The entire southeast side of Florida is sugarcane fields.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me see. What time is it? 9:56. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the live stream for tonight. Been going almost 2 hours. Appreciate everyone that stopped in and hung out with us tonight. And tomorrow night we'll be over on Lee's channel again, and we'll be hanging out over there. So bring your questions and comments and chat, and we'll have a good time. So good night, everyone. Quitting while Todd's away.